Another option that we have that's kind of unique is a lease. And we call it a tax lease because the lease payments are tax deductible on your tax return. The tax lease, you're actually building up some ownership over a period of time, but it's not a lease to own. It's a true tax lease. And we use it a lot for construction of buildings. We can use it for really specialized equipment. We can use it for vehicles. So Compeer actually owns the asset. So let's say you want to put up a building on your farm. You go out and get bids for the building. You decide who you want to have build the building for you. We sign a lease agreement. All the bills come to us and we pay the bills. When the building is completed, we sign the final lease documents, and then we usually set those up on a 12-year term. We'll put a 15% residual on it. So let's say the building cost $100,000. We'll take 15% of that. We'll take $15,000. We set that aside. We call that a residual. It gets paid at the end of the lease term. We take the other 85%, we apply an interest rate to it, and then we spread those payments over 12 years, and that's what the lease payment is. What's unusual about this, though, is that unlike a typical lease where you pay your lease and you don't get anything in return for it, under our lease program, when you make a lease payment, a portion of that payment is going towards the purchase of the building. So we call it a net investment. It's not really paying principal, but you're essentially building equity in that building over time. And by the end of the 12 years, you'll have paid 85% of it. You just pay that last 15% and it's yours. A couple of really good advantages to that program. Number one, there's no down payment required. You know, if you were going to construct a building, especially a commercial building, what typically happens is you have to have an as-will-be appraisal. So you bring in your architecture plans, we send it to an appraiser. The appraiser says, okay, this building, I don't care if it costs $100,000. When it's done, it's going to be worth $75,000. And then you come back to us and we say, okay, we'll loan you 70% of $75,000. And you say, okay, well, I needed $100,000. I didn't need, $30,000. I didn't have that much saved up. Well, with the lease program, there is no down payment. There's no as-will-be appraisal because we own the building. We've severed the building from the real estate under it. We own it. So there's no down payment, there's no appraisal. Those are also convertible. The leases are convertible. So if the interest rates go down over time, you can convert to the lower interest rate. If you decide at some point you'd rather have a loan than a lease, you can convert to a loan and take out the lease. If you decide to sell the property, or if it's a piece of equipment you want to trade it in, you can just pay off the lease at that point, trade it in on a new piece of equipment. So there's a lot of flexibility with that program. The first payment also isn't due until the building is put into service. So we pay all the bills during the construction phase. You get the building in service, you start using it, and that's when you make your first lease payment. So hopefully you've generated some cash flow from having that building, and now you've got the money that you need to make the lease payments. One of the other things about it that makes it a tax advantage product is the fact that you're able to expense roughly 85% of the building in a 12-year time period. You might be purchasing a building or constructing a building that would be 39.5-year depreciable property. With a tax lease, you can expense 85% of that in 12 years. So there's a big tax advantage to using that tax lease in some instances. So we do a lot of building construction under that program. I specialize in direct-to-consumer and value-added agriculture. And so I've been doing some organic egg-laying barns for some of my Amish farmers. I've done really specialized types of food processing equipment for farmers. I've got an orchard that's building a tasting room right now, and we did a lease to cover the cost of the kitchen equipment and some of the furniture in the restaurant. So we have a lot of flexibility. As long as it's a commercial purpose, we can generally write a lease on that.